Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps. It is I, your host with the most, Renaissance man who always thinks he can. Left side today, champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back for another episode of Pitts and Sara, or the Raw Rewind, presented to you by Pitts and Sara's wrestling show. Not for much longer, perhaps. Sara, people are interested. All right, we got different wrestling promoters, big names. They got their eyes on us, and I'm hearing talks through, down below that we could have a name soon. We could
We're
have a
rebranding.
name. We're rebranding, so be on the lookout for that. And no, I was not talking to John Cena. I was talking to the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's poppin', girl?
Hey, yo.
I just rearranged my bookcase, which has all my, collector stuff on it, because I was running out of room for my Funkos, because I just got another new Funko, but not a wrestling one. So I created it. So now the wrestling ones have their own shelf and the other ones have their own shelf. So I'm like, oh, I have an excuse to get more.
There you go.
There's no other wrestling ones I want right now, though. I don't think.
See, I would do that when I get a better space. I think right now to have Funko Pops, action figures, anything like that out would just be a hazard. And my niece and nephew are going to come down and just ruin it.
Oh, yeah. My nephew definitely went in my room earlier, this morning, because I came in and my Funkos were moved around, and I was like, I see someone was having some fun here. Okay. Buddy. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I got to get more of that. But yeah, so Sara, I was watching Raw last night, but we had the Home Run Derby stream. I was in the underground. Hello, let me get to these guys. Or you got it.
Yeah,
we got our peeps here. But no, I was in the underground last night, and it was the Home Run Derby. It's MLB All Star, but you know the champ. If there's another TV insight, he'll throw on professional wrestling. That's what we didn't watch Raw. And to be honest, I thought it was pretty decent. I thought it was a pretty decent show. That's it. Nothing.
Yeah, that's how I felt at the end, and I'm glad that you felt that way too, because at the end I was like, it was all right. There were some moments, but it wasn't something where I was like, oh, I'm really excited to watch this whole thing, or it kept my attention the entire time, or oh yeah, I'll watch it once it's on here, on the West Coast. I didn't rewatch it. So yeah, I felt like it was okay, which is fine. I think it's fine that there are some times where they're not A+++ episodes. It's normal for any television program. So,
well, it's because this episode really focused on Judgment Day, and we're gonna obviously get into that. But I'm noticing when they go heavy in faction storytelling, and they're implementing seeds throughout the show to lead up to the main event, rather than just different story, match, whatever, main event culminating, whatever. It's just, you really had to not pay attention, but it brings a little bit more continuity to the show, where you're watching throughout and you're looking for key things. So when the main event does happen, you're looking at it like, all right, oh, they did mention this earlier, or oh, this happened, and oh, things are good or things aren't good, whatever. But no, I thought they were really good segments. I wouldn't say it was out of this world, but I wouldn't say it was bad either by any means. I wouldn't even. But so we'll get right into it.
All right.
With this, and kind of already alluding to it with the Judgment Day.
Yes.
On a roller coaster of emotions, and it kind of just what
I said. It really was.
It really was just I really didn't know how to feel at some points.
Me too.
Are they really going to do this? Are they going to really break them up? But stronger heads prevailed.
Yeah. So I was really excited when Raw started and Finn's music hit. I was like, okay, because we didn't see him last week until the very end of the show. So I was like, ooh, Fergie's here. So he comes he comes into the ring, and this is where I started getting nervous, which we kind of just were alluding to. He starts just talking about Damian, smashing Damian about how he cost him the chance for the title at Money in the Bank. Just keeps going in on him. And I was like, oh God, no. Like, we've been talking about this for a few weeks now. Like, please, well, this moment specifically we've been talking about, but we've been saying for months, please don't break up the Judgment Day. Please don't break up the Judgment Day. So I was like, they're really going to do this. Really? Like, okay. So then Rhea and Dom come out, and Rhea convinces Finn to basically just take your issues to the back, boy. He's like, let's just have this conversation in the back. Don't let everyone hear about our dirty laundry, okay? Don't be talking to these people of Buffalo. No offense to people in Buffalo, but I'm just sorry. I'm just, as a Patriots fan, ew. I'm just saying.
I like, there's some peeps in Buffalo I like.
I mean, shout out to the people from Buffalo that watch the show.
Oh,
but
yeah.
As far as, you know, sports teams go, I can't rock with you. I'm sorry. So Finn ends up leaving, you know, like he didn't really want to, but he did. And then as the story continues throughout the show, because then Rhea is in the ring and her and Dom are just like hyping each other up and like, oh, Dom is going to beat Seth, and Seth comes out with buffalo wings. I'm just like, what is happening?
Yo, that was so funny. When my favorite part of this whole thing, yeah, the Finn Rhea, like the actual serious stuff was interesting. You need it, but goddamn, when Dom gets in there, tries to speak twice, and then Seth's music hits.
Yeah.
And Seth just is eating wings with a plate. Like he literally just came from catering. And Dom is like, no, he throws the ultimate temper tantrum. And he's like, no, you are not going to disrespect me. Mm-hmm. These people are not going to disrespect me. And I'm going to beat your. I was just like, yes. Like,
that's
Dom,
what we
finally pops off. You needed this moment to happen.
Yep, we literally just talked about it. I think we have a video coming out. I think it's a video coming out in like a half hour about it, actually, on the channel. Yeah, so as this, I mean, the domination of Judgment Day throughout the entirety of the show, which is basically the Raw version of the Bloodline, because it was like, no, it wasn't just the first segment, it was throughout the entire show. We then see Finn and Damian talking backstage, more like bickering, like mom and dad are fighting again. And so Rhea is just like yelling at them and being like, one of you need to talk at one time. And he says Damian. And then I'm sorry, when Damian's like, before they did that, and he was like, you guys need to stop being children or whatever, and he was like, as a man, and I was like, I stopped and I was like paying attention, and I was like, as a man, I was like, can you read me?
That went over my head. I'm sorry. Can you just, that's long term. I love that.
It's just, you know, Bamian, just being Bamian. Anyway, so Rhea says one of you guys have to talk at a time. So Damian talks first and says he wasn't even trying to cause any issues between him and Finn, wasn't trying to cause any issue in the match. He wasn't trying to cost him the title, obviously, because they're bros and like, hey, I would never do that to you. He says he actually wanted Finn to win, and he just wants things to go back to how they were, and says, you know, like, are we cool? And Finn says, yeah, why don't we just start with a clean slate? Like, everything is cool, gravy, everything with a fresh start, whatever, but under one condition. I have to continue going after Seth because I still have issues with Seth. So, and then this is where things got a little bit weird.
A little interesting.
So Damian's like, yeah, sure, dude. Like, yeah, do what you want to do. But then he shows off the briefcase and is like, it's all good. So, like, I still have this. I don't care what you do. And then he walks away, and Finn's just like, and I was like, same. Because
go.
What are we doing? Because this is where I'm bringing. This is what I'm saying. Okay, are they actually good? So we know that it gets into the main event. We'll talk about what happens afterwards. But do you believe that they're actually good, or is this temporary?
They're good. The Money in the Bank, people forget that the Money in the Bank does not need to be cashed in within the first month and a half. Like, we haven't even got to the pay-per-view after Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
it does not need to be cashed in.
Has it even been 2 weeks? Like,
I don't think so.
Like,
I really don't.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah. So maybe it's been a week and a half almost. Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks this week.
Wait, when was my? It was
It was a week. It was a week and a half ago, wasn't it?
July 1st, 2nd. Yeah, that was the night
Yeah.
I passed on the garage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So when you have to like think long term sometimes with Money in the Bank,
Yeah.
the best cash-ins were weighted, and it was the moment you least expected. So
Mhm.
obviously people are going to expect if Finn were to win this, or if Seth wins by, an inch or whatever, a close win, and then Damian comes in, yeah, you're expecting that. But that's not the plan, because they've just been so many fast cash-ins, and
Yeah.
especially with the way things are right now in WWE, you can't, no one's gonna take it from Roman. All right, that is the
Yeah.
bloodline title.
Yeah.
That's in another
Solo.
multiverse. Yeah, Solo, Jay,
Solo.
Jimmy, I don't care who the hell, but it's not going to another superstar who's not in the bloodline. Seth, you can't do a fast cash in either, because you just introduced this title. You need
Mhm.
to have this title have a little bit more prestige.
Yeah.
As he said, the workhorse. I'm not saying as long of a reign as Gunther, but at least have some banger title defenses, so that when he does eventually drop that title, the winner is someone that you're like, all right, well, this guy you're all in on because he beat Seth. It's like, all right, cool, he's in that level, like a Drew McIntyre, or I'm trying to think of other people. Matt Riddle.
Um, you really thought you were just gonna slip that name in there
I
and I
just
wouldn't pick up
really
on it?
hoped. I was really hoping that would just slide just
Yeah.
right through it.
Don't get me worked up before we even have
KO,
to talk about him.
Sammy, like anyone like that.
Yeah.
Finn, like any.
Well, that's why I'm thinking SummerSlam. I don't know if it's a shoe-in for Seth. I think that there's a possibility that Finn could be champion. Or another scenario in my head, if they really are trying to play up the tension between Finn and Damian, maybe Seth wins barely, like you said. Damian cashes in, becomes champion, right? Then that's like what the with Finn, right? But then imagine a triple threat. Finn versus Seth versus Damian. Like, are you
That's what we
kidding
might
me?
get at SummerSlam. I have a weird feeling that
I don't.
he will
Well,
even
I'm
have the
saying,
Money in the Bank and still get the title shot.
yeah. Well, I just meant like after whatever the pay per view is after SummerSlam. I don't know what that is, but
Payback.
oh, okay. But anyway, like there's a lot of possibilities that could come from this. But I wouldn't be surprised if Finn won at SummerSlam. That's what I wanted, because it would be like a full circle thing, like 7 years in
7 years.
the making, and I would just be like, oh my god, again. Because that's how I was the first time. I was like,
Oh my
oh my god,
god.
Finn
Oh my
wins. You're
god.
oh my god, snur. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see. But yeah, I think that they're gonna definitely play up that they're fine for now, but I don't think it's gonna last that long. We'll have to see. I don't want them to break up because I love that they're one of the other factions that's like been together for a really long time and
Yeah.
still doing great. So I'm glad it's not something that Triple H wanted to immediately change.
No, you can't break them up right now. They're too over. It just makes sense, and they're dominant. You need a dominant faction like that on Raw
Yeah.
to, be the bullies, that dark force on Raw, and they're killing it. Like Rhea Ripley honestly could be in contention for superstar of the year, men and women.
Well, we'll talk about that when we talk about Rhea, because that's a controversial opinion. I think I don't disagree, but I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
Richard has a question on this. I just scrolled through, so he does say, I
Yeah,
can
I'm
see
waiting
Finn
for.
beating Seth at SummerSlam, but does Priest ever turn on Finn, or does Finn just stay paranoid around him until he loses the title on his own?
So, want to hear some dark shit?
Does it have to do with this?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's. No, you're not just bringing it. Never mind.
You just randomly revealed that you passed out in your garage. So I don't know if you were just going to start talking about how you like called on dark spirits one night and there was a ghost that haunted you for 3 years. I don't know what you're going to talk about.
What do you think I am? The Lord of Darkness?
I don't know what you do in your personal life.
No,
Okay,
I just had
don't know.
way too much tequila and just passed out. It's okay.
Okay.
So, something, the dark thing, we're bringing it back.
Okay.
the best way to mess with someone that you think that they're gonna get you, or the payback, we'll say, is the psychological game is better than actually taking action. So having Finn be paranoid that he's gonna cash in every time, and then have Finn win a couple title defenses. Maybe have like a 2-month reign, 2-3 month reign, and have all these defenses where Priest either helps him or he thinks Priest is going to turn on him.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just creates this friction where
Yeah.
Finn loses the title. And then you can do it to whoever. I don't care. You can literally just have him lose to whoever. And then Priest comes in and cashes in and wins the title, brings it back to Judgment Day. Then Finn's going to be more pissed.
Yeah.
And then you could do a lot with that. I think that would be very interesting. I'd like to see how they tell that story from a psychological standpoint of that paranoia, because you already see it manifested on the screen every week with his actions and his mannerisms, and if you took that a step further with the paranoia and Damian just is his calm, cool self, his manly self, that's just like, yeah, I have it. I'm ready. You're champion, but like, I'm not ready to cash it in yet. And it's just that paranoia. It would be for really good television.
Yeah. Well, and it could be something too where like Damian is secretly mad about the fact that Finn became champion, because then he would be, like the one that has the keys to the kingdom in the briefcase, but he doesn't have a title, and the only other one in Judgment Day who doesn't is Dom, and it's like
dirty Dom.
Dirty Dom. So like I don't know, but yeah, I think there is like certain things that they could do, but I feel like that could be like long-term, the most long-term storytelling, I think. Because I don't think that they should have an imminent breakup of the Judgment Day. I think that could be bad. This could go on to SummerSlam, and maybe we do see Finn versus Damian at SummerSlam, or I'm sorry, at Mania, WrestleMania.
And we don't see any internal feuding that ends up being fine a week. Like, oh, they had a match, they got it all out, and now they're stronger than ever. You don't see a lot of that nowadays. Yeah. I think the last time I saw a tag team wrestle on, as you said, Mania, was Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, WrestleMania 21 to open the show, and they just wanted to see who the better man was. It was a hell of a match, and I don't see why we couldn't have a similar situation with Damian and Finn.
Yeah. We'll have to see, but I'm excited.
Let me see if we missed anything that is relevant. No, we're good for right now.
All right. Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle,
the Claymore Bros,
create chaos for Imperium, which I don't appreciate. So they had their match pretty early on in the night, and I mean, the one thing that I noticed, I guess I don't know if I can give credit to Matt Riddle for this, but like Drew McIntyre was having the time of his life last night. Like when they came back from commercial and he took off his kilt thing and he was just like laughing, like it was like he was Val Venus for a moment or something. It was just like whatever.
Oh, ladies.
Ew. And so it was a good match.
Yeah,
I would say for the most part. It wasn't very long, and of course they had Drew dominate. So I would say, that part I didn't particularly like, but I would say that it had to be done because Drew's been gone for 3 months. So it was like, okay, we need him to look good and get like back in the ring, get a win. I'm like, fine, whatever. Okay. But this is where I was just not into it. So speaking of factions breaking up,
they're not.
The way that they lost, the way that Imperium lost, first of all, and this is context that matters. Of course, Giovanni Vinci is the one who gets pinned, right?
Yeah, death taxes, Vinci takes the fall. I would just put that in a t-shirt. Okay, continue. Sorry.
But at the same time, Riddle has Kaiser in an ankle lock. who probably would have tapped. So it's like, so they lose, whatever. And I'm just like, this is just stupid. Okay. I'm upset. I'm like, I am so tired of them making these guys look bad in the ring because they are not bad in the ring. So as they're standing there, and Gunther's like staring down McIntyre, whatever, they're trying to go up the ramp. Gunther yells at Vinci in another language, but who knows what language it was, because like Vinci can talk like so many languages. So can Gunther speak? I don't know. And as they're making their way up the ring or up the ramp, Gunther walks away, and then Kaiser just kind of like stares at Vinci and just like shakes his head a little bit and then walks away. And Vinci's like, "What, man?" And I was like, "Don't do this. Don't do this." Because also, other than the fact that I don't want Imperium to break up, there were some people who were responding and they were like, I would love to see Vinci as a solo star, and people were posting gifs of him as
100%.
Vinci in NXT, where he was like pointing to the camera and just like smiling, like I told you, because they would like snap photos of him and whatever, and they were like, I would love to see this back. I'm like, that's not something that they would ever push, nor would they ever like make him into a star. So that's why I'm like, no. And him and Kaiser work so well together. I mean, Imperium in general is great, but like him and Kaiser are a great tag team. So I'm like, don't
this is just the old school European, whatever that sector of the world type of wrestling is, where it is just bereavement, negative reinforcement in defeat and all that. And I mean, that's what Imperium is. They are the PG version of the Blackpool Combat Club, for any of our AEW peeps out there.
Mm-hmm.
They just hit hard. Okay. They just go out there and wrestle technically, physically. So when you lose, you're punished. And it's maybe a lashing out verbally. It may be, I mean, we saw it, I think, a year ago at this point when Gunther first debuted on the main roster.
When chopped the shit out of Kaiser.
Yeah, and he would just chop the shit out of Kaiser when he lost.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that tough love. I don't see Imperium breaking up at all. They need this right now. The factions are going too well. And when I say too well, I mean they're flowing too well. There's no tension, inner turmoil.
Yeah.
Which that's how you get better, is, improve whatever. So because they don't have that, they need to have a reason for it. And losing to Matt friggin' Riddle, Drew McIntyre's whatever. All right. If Giovanni Vinci gets Claymore kicked, so what? But Matt Riddle is just this constant thorn in your side. It's infuriating to Gunther. And I think that's where the real issue is. And I mean, you heard KO and Sammy say it, Imperium has been on them for a couple months now. We could see them still pop up out of nowhere leading up. We still have a long time before SummerSlam.
Well, and I think we'll talk about what KO and Sammy talked about. But I do think that that's something that they should really consider doing, because I think if, like, I've been saying this for so long, it's another thing I've been saying for so long. If they want to make Imperium be this really strong, dominant unit, instead of it just being Gunther and then his minions, because that's basically like how they're treating them right now, give them the tag titles. Or unify them and make it one tag title, or take off one of the titles off of KO and Sammy and give them to Imperium. Like, I just am like, we need to do something, because then that would make it's just like what we've been saying about Judgment Day. It would be great if they all could have titles at one point, even if it came down to two of them having the tag team titles and one being like, even if it was Intercontinental, US, WWE, something. It would make them look crazy great, because they would all be champions. And I feel like that would only elevate Imperium and make Gunther look like even more of a scary person if he has the title, is the longest reigning Intercontinental champion, and then he has his sidekicks that are like also tag team champions. Come on.
I don't think there's a more unanimous take in the wrestling community right now than Gunther smashing the Honky Tonk Man's IC title reign. I don't think there's any one person that I've heard, maybe Sergeant Slaughter's daughter, because she's that old school, but I think that was incredible. But no one, like, everyone just wants to see Gunther be this just dominant dude and just have this title. Like, it's his title, which works in his favor for when eventually the WWE title stops being the Bloodline title. So, and Richard had this question. We kind of talked about the first one about Giovanni being replaced, but this is a good point. Or does Imperium add a fourth member like Ilya Dragunov?
I know that people have been saying that for a while.
That would be.
I mean, I'm not like 100% against it, but kind of like that they're a trio. You know, because then it's like with Judgment Day, it is kind of awkward that there's the 3 guys because it's like they can't win the tag titles together. And so it just kind of creates a little bit of like, and so I don't know. I like that it's like there's a tag team and then there's Gunther, but I mean, if this is their way of trying to spice things up or something, I guess. But I mean, I like Imperium as they are, so I don't need another man in there.
I would rather see Ilya feud with Gunther rather than team alongside him. Those are my thoughts on that.
Did you see that one of our viewers, Nathan, was like telling me how much Gunther sucks on Twitter?
Whoa.
I know. I thought he was joking and he told me no. He said that he sucks, that he's not good in the ring, that he's like not strong and all this stuff. And I was like, are you joking? He was like, no, I'm stronger than him. He sucks. I was like, I'm so confused. I was like, Nathan, what is happening? I was
like, say to that? You know what I say to that?
It doesn't matter what you think.
Damn right, Nathan. It does not matter what you think. If you were thinking that Gunther is not the ring general,
this is what I say.
Dummy, yeah. Yeah. Dummy, yeah. Yeah. Dummy, yeah. Yeah.
Out it.
Can't wait for football season when we can just tweet these out just all the time. Oh, all right, so what's next? Or do we have any more questions? No, I didn't see any.
Okay, so then, like I said, we kind of started talking about this anyway. So this isn't like a huge moment on Raw, but I don't know. I took note of it because this is something we've talked about a few times. So Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are asked about their next challengers, which I am so here for because of course they showed a Bloodline package before this, and then they're like, "Let's go interview KO and Sami," and I was like, "Don't you fucking dare ask them about the Bloodline again! Don't do it." And so I'm very glad that they didn't because I feel like they kind of tricked us with that. They were like, "Oh, wait, the Bloodline? Let's go talk to KO and Sami." And I was like, don't.
It was a really great swerve. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, thank you. So basically they were just asked like, "Oh, like, you know, you've had some great title defenses since Mania." And I was like, "Girl, what are you talking about?" And so she was like, "So like, who's next?" And Sami just basically says anybody, you know, Street Profits. Who else did he say?
I don't know. Street Profits. He said they said the Viking Raiders. KO said the Viking Raiders.
Whatever. So yeah. Academy. Alpha Academy. Yeah. So they were just listing. He said that since their issues with Imperium seem to be kind of done away with, and I was like, nah.
No, they're not.
Excuse me. And this is where we get more of the Judgment Day. Rhea and Dom roll up, and Rhea is pissed that they didn't even mention Judgment Day.
Which I was like, so they followed the unwritten rule because they felt disrespected.
Yeah.
That was a really funny, like the little details like that just get me every time. Like,
well, it's because it's Kevin Owens. That's why.
Well, yeah, he's the fucking man.
So yeah, I think that this is a fair argument or a fair question to ask the tag team champions because, you know, some other champions like Rhea have been criticized a lot for not having many title defenses or feuds since Mania. But I mean, guys, neither has Sami and KO. Like, it really feels like they didn't have like long-term plans for them. It was like basically like, oh, we're gonna have you beat the Usos at Mania, and then after that you kind of like, you know, you finish off with the Usos, and then after that we'll see. Like, I'm not for it. I feel like it's kind of crazy that it went from the Usos to them, and then they're just not really doing anything. So I hope that we kind of see them develop some sort of feud. I'm not against them still doing it with Imperium, but I don't know, because just because Gunther is feuding with Drew McIntyre does not mean that Kaiser and Vinci need to as well, you know, like, and not have their own thing going on. Like, they are a unit, but Gunther would come out and watch them in a tag team title match. They'd come out for an intercontinental title match, you know, so it's like, I don't know that they need to pick and choose, but
no, I love KO and Sami's role right now because you need them on TV and they've been in such a deep, tolling feud with the bloodline, and that takes, everything from emotional, physical, mental, all that. So it's nice to see them be on the show and be the comic relief, and just go out there. They're going to have a backstage segment where they'll make you laugh, maybe two, and then they're going to have a feud or a match. I mean, that night they're going to do their thing and they're going to send the fans home happy. And I like how they're teaming with like Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. So it makes you think like, oh, even if they weren't the tag team champions, they'd still be on this level with them because they're teaming with them and they're putting on these types of matches. So I like their role right now. I get it just because of how good the product is and how many people you need to get on screen and more airtime. And at this point, it seems like KO and Sammy are pretty okay with giving, the younger talent more airtime.
Yeah, I just want to see more title defenses. That's all. And feuds, like legitimate feuds.
Yeah.
So the original match of Dirty Dom versus Sexy Seth Rollins does not happen. It appears as if it was a setup by the Judgment Day, which I am here for. So Dom attacks Seth immediately on his way out as he's dancing and having the crowd sing, chases him around the arena. And that's when Priest and Balor and Rhea jump out and they're like, ha ha ha. And then they just start beating him up. And then KO and Sammy are like, no, I don't want to watch our friend get beat up. And so they come out and they're like, we're here, Seth. And that leads into obviously them having a 3-on-3 match, which ends up being the main event. Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn versus Judgment Day, where we'd love to see the smile between Damian and Finn just being like, we're back, baby. And I was like, oh my God, Kings. And yeah, I mean, this was a great match. It was good. I don't know what to say. Again, it's just one of those matches that it's like,
this comment gets me because Dom versus Seth rematch said Vince back. I can see why they thought that, but then once they let it play out and realize that, oh, it's a ploy for a cash in or for Finn to do something, it's like, all right, it's not. It's deeper meaning. It's, keeping you entertained because you're probably thinking to yourself at that time, well, what's the main event going to be then? So then there you go.
Well, and as we've said before, every single thing that happens that people don't like doesn't mean it was Vince.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of things over the last near year that Triple H has been in control that was bad, and it was Triple H. So
Aaliyah, just throwing that out there.
Yeah. I mean, there's things that we could even sit here and talk about and debate, but yeah, it's not like every good decision isn't Triple H and every bad decision is not Vince. No. We kind of need to move past that. So anyway, yeah, this was a good match. It was good. This is a win I said that Judgment Day needed. I'm very glad because there was a lot of near falls in this match, which I loved because it made it feel more important, like a grander main event, even though there was no title on the line. There was basically no reason for it. It was just like, oh, you guys attacked me, so I'm gonna get my friends and we're gonna beat you. Like that was basically what it was. Yeah, and so I'm just glad that it was a pretty decent long match. It was a great match. There was like a lot of ups and downs, a lot of near falls. And I'm glad that Judgment Day came out on top because I think it played well into all of the drama of the Judgment Day throughout the evening to have them win. I feel like that's one reason why they also needed the win. And then we see the embrace of Finn and Damian in the ring afterwards, like, oh my God, I'm so happy we're back together. And I was like, samesies. So it was just really nice. What?
No, just like samesies. They were like, like all cuddly and cool.
Oh my God, my bays like each other. Where's my hug? Where was I? I'm just like Photoshop myself in the middle. Like, oh,
yeah, like, just like Photoshop yourself, like reaching out.
Imagine we go to WrestleMania and there is a signing or a photo op with Judgment Day.
I'm telling you, the content we are going to pull from when we go to Mania is going to be fucking incredible.
Oh my God, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could meet them. If it was the four of them, like if it was like a whole thing, I don't know that I could.
Them. You could, Sarah.
You have never. First of all, you haven't been to a show with, well, we haven't met
I
in
have.
person, but you
What
haven't,
happened?
yeah, but you haven't, like, I haven't gone to a wrestling show in 6 years, and then I haven't met a wrestler, I know, since 2017, I think. And then I haven't met a wrestler since 2013, and I got like super nervous back then, but I feel like now it's like worse because it's like now it's been 10 years of me developing more love for my favorites, and then it's gonna be like, what do I do? And the idea of meeting 4 people at once, you
It's
don't even want to.
overstimulating. It's overstimulating.
Yeah, because when I met Panic at the Disco a few times,
Well, Brandon Urie is
it's very overwhelming. Well, no, because when you go up to, to get something signed, and it's one by one, which is fine because then there's a person in front of you talking to the other person. But then when you go to get a picture with them, it's like the entire band is there, and then you're just like, yeah, like, okay, like, where do I
who
stand?
do I? Yeah,
Like, I don't know, and I always wanted to.
Way of.
I always wanted to stand next to Brendan though.
Obviously.
Yeah, because he was the love of my life. But yeah, no, I don't know if I can handle that. That would just be like,
I'm meeting Matt Hardy a week from today.
That is very exciting.
I'm very excited. Extreme Life Matt Hardy show is live at Kowloon. If you are any Massachusetts peeps out there and want to meet the champ,
is John gonna be there?
Oh yeah, he'll be there.
Oh my god,
my
it's so famous.
Dude, John Alva.
So Bernard says, Sarah and Pat, do you think Dom may need a title for his great heel work? Because I think he does. The problem is that it would basically, I think tag team title is like the only place he can get to right now, because Intercontinental, no.
No, yeah, not just for a cheap pop. You can't. No.
Yeah, so I think tag team, I don't think is a bad idea, but I don't see that going in the direction of Judgment Day right now because of what's going on with Finn and Seth. I don't know that either of them are going to be like, yeah, sure, we'll go for the tag titles instead. Like, I don't think that's going to happen right now.
And Dom.
Yeah, but he has the briefcase. I just don't know.
There you go. That just adds more.
Well, I guess, but I just mean, I feel like the focus right now is the WWE World Heavyweight title right now. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, if there were other titles, or if they had the US title, I wouldn't be against it. But
the US just shit luck. It's on SmackDown, and it's gonna be LA Knights soon. So it's okay.
Okay, so then we have Ricochet and Logan Paul face off. And I say that it was awkward, but not awkward in the way that Twitter was making it seem, because everyone was coming for Ricochet. And I did not appreciate that.
He's not the best on the mic. That's why. I think he's good. He's fine.
He's never been great on the mic, but this is the thing.
Doesn't need to be.
The thing that I get irritated about is people pick and choose when that type of thing matters. There's so many wrestlers over the years that people love, and they were never good on the mic, but you don't ever hear people talk about it. Like, we talked about Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was not good on the mic, never has been. But does anyone rag on him every single time he speaks? No. So it's just one of those things that I get like annoyed about, because it's like, you guys don't say this about the other people that aren't good. So like, I don't understand why there's like certain guys that you keep talking about, because it's like,
no, I agree.
Who cares? He doesn't need to. Like, so we see Ricochet come out. And he's just talking about Logan and all the drama that has been brewing from them, and he doesn't really understand where it's coming from, blah, blah, blah. Logan comes out, and I just want to be like, why is Logan Paul such a tool? That's what I want to know. Because why is he coming out, first of all, in a wife beater and a chain? Like, who do you think you are?
Because it's wrestling. He's trying to be tough.
I'm gonna look like a wrestler, so I'm gonna wear my sunglasses inside. I'm gonna wear a white wife beater and a gold chain, bro.
Glasses at night. No.
So I also felt like, there's just certain things about Logan that still frustrate me, because I'm not trying to be that person that is overly protective of professional wrestling and like saying that outsiders can't come in. I don't mean that, obviously, because we've praised Logan for how he is in the ring and how entertaining he is, and the things that he's willing to do for someone who's so inexperienced. So I'm not saying that, My problem is that I feel like he needs a little more structure when he's speaking, because he just like goes off the cuff, and I'm just like, okay, like in the middle of Ricochet talking, he's like taking a selfie with some kid, and I don't think that I think that would have happened regardless of what Ricochet was saying. It was just a coincidence that at the moment Ricochet was like, nobody even wanted you to win Money in the Bank, you know. It was just like a coincidence in my mind. But then when it gets to Ricochet's talking, and then I think the crowd starts saying like Logan sucks, and Logan's like, you're still talking, doing your promo, and yet it's still about me. Like, why are you like, there's just certain things that you don't say. Like, don't say your promo, bro. That's not the, like, no, this is supposed to be like,
they have, I will give in his defense, like they're using terms now that they wouldn't, because people know.
I know,
So
but
they
like,
are trying. I do agree though that you in that moment you let it breathe. You should
well,
let it
'cause
breathe. You
it
let
just
the
makes it,
crowd. You don't need to say anything. Yeah, I'm
well,
with
because
you
it's
there.
supposed to be like, if we're supposed to buy into this being like legit and real, right? Like, oh, Logan attacked him and it was a brawl, and that's what it led to this moment, then don't say stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because like,
Yeah.
you were handed a script too, bro. Like, you might get a little bit more leniency because you know this isn't your profession. But still. And then I also thought it was weird how he was like, I don't do this to go viral. And I was like, you need to pick and choose the things that you say, because there's been times where you said that that's why you're here. Like, that you're trying to get viral moments.
Constantly contradicting himself. Yeah,
I know. And that's the thing. Why is he not being checked on that? You know, because like, if I'm noticing this, other people are noticing this.
Oh yeah. No,
and
we
so
are
it's
not the
like,
only ones. That's,
you know,
yeah.
you can't just cut him some slack because, oh, it's Logan. Like, this isn't what he does every day. No, this is what he wants to do. And he has alleged, at least in the past, that this is something that he would like to pursue at some point full time. Okay, so then you need to take these things seriously. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to like trash him every single time that we talk about him, but there's just certain things where it's like, it's very obvious that you're not an insider. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's very obvious that it feels like you don't take this seriously. Like we said, when we were talking about him the other day. Oh no, maybe it wasn't with you. It was with my sister, I think. And it was him on his podcast, I think, reacting to Money in the Bank and saying like, this shit is real, dude. And I'm just like, you need to stop saying that. Also, like, you can't keep talking about how this is real, because I'm like, then you're still playing into the fact that you think that professional wrestling is fake, that it's like not legit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm
no,
not
I know
trying to, like,
1,000% what you mean. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah,
I'm not trying to nitpick, but I don't think he realizes that there's certain things that you just shouldn't say, because then you're playing into a narrative that wrestling is constantly trying to do away with. So when you say things like promo during a Monday Night Raw, no. When you say this is real,
that's what it was.
We get it.
Well, Jay or Jimmy, I forget which one said it, but they said show the package.
I mean, and see, and that is like that. Well, that was for the trial though, and that's
what I'm saying. But I mean, you wouldn't call it. They would say like roll the evidence, or if you want to like keep it with kayfabe or whatever. But they said package, and I'm like, oh. Okay.
And there's certain things that, I mean, that I feel like is like, you know what I mean? I just think it's like, when you're saying a promo, it's like, we're not supposed to know that this is like a scripted moment. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to describe it, but I'm probably just going on a tangent. But anyway.
You are. I'm just letting you go off as Judgment Day graces our screen. David's got us here. Judgment Day starring NXT.
Okay, well,
I tune into that.
I can't, so...
I was going to say tune into that, Sarah, later, because I know you'll be interested in that. That's where I was going.
So after they kind of trade back and forth, Logan denies Ricochet a match at SummerSlam, just being like, acting like he's not on his level. And I was just like, this is stupid. And so Ricochet then does his like cool jump over the ropes thing. And I have to tell you, the universe is weird. Okay. So I was just scrolling through, I don't know if it was YouTube or Instagram or something yesterday. And I saw that video of when he did it to the Velveteen Dream. And again, and I'd seen it obviously before. Yeah. And so my sister, I knew, hadn't seen it, and she thinks Ricochet's great, for when she does kind of watch wrestling with me. And I was like, oh, she'll love this. So I sent it to her yesterday morning. Okay. And then he does that shit on Raw. I was like, the universe is weird, dude. Like, what are the chances that I see this video, I send it to my sister, and then he does it that night? Like, that really.
They're listening.
It was
Sara.
weird. Big brother.
They're listening.
So my main thing is, first of all, other than the fact that this isn't, oh my God, Finn said NXT Daddy is home. Oh my God. He's not wrong.
In his Adidas.
Daddy. Anyway, this crowd was pretty terrible during this segment, and I understand it's not Logan versus Roman Reigns. It's not Logan versus Seth Rollins. So, Ricochet's not over the same way as those guys. But I was kind of bummed for him in a way that they didn't really get behind this. They barely reacted to his cool moment. So, one, I question how excited people are for this inevitable match at SummerSlam. And two, the other rumor is right now that Logan is going to beat him because WWE wants him to get a win. And I feel bad for Ricochet that they're going to literally do it to Ricochet.
No, you need to bury Logan. He doesn't need a win. What do you mean? What do you mean he doesn't need a win? We need a win. What the fuck is that?
This is a good argument. This is why I wanted to talk about it. So obviously this is just rumors on the interweb.
Yeah, I mean,
and whatever. But if we're paying it any sort of seriousness, right? That WWE is like, you know what? He's lost all of his matches. He needs to get a win. I want to understand, as you said, why. Because his stock doesn't plummet if he loses. He's not a regular wrestler that is on Mondays, Fridays, Saturdays, Tuesdays, whatever day of the week. He's not on all the time. He'll be on this month, and then he'll be gone for 4 months, and then he shows back up again. No one remembers that, he hasn't won since the first WrestleMania he did with Miz. And wins and losses count more or mean more for the guys that are there all the time. If you're trying to push Ricochet to be this like top-ish tier guy, you're really going to have him lose to Logan Paul in a match where you're finally featuring him as a solo guy and not a part of like a Money in the Bank match or something. Like, I feel like that's kind of lame.
It is. I don't see why he needed to win, especially with the WWE's mantra of the wins and losses don't matter. Like, the points on whose line is anyway. It's more about the story and what reaction you're getting out of the fans. And the fans don't want to see Logan Paul win. They want to see Logan Paul do something fucking unreal that they can show their friends on social media, send it on every, wavelength, whatever. And the wrestling fans want Ricochet to win because Ricochet needs a win. Like, when was the last time you saw Ricochet get a nice, clean pinfall victory? Yeah.
Well, basically, he hasn't had a significant match since he lost the Intercontinental title to Gunther.
Oh yeah, he was in that tournament too.
Yeah, I mean, well, he was Intercontinental champion, but like, he hasn't really done a lot. I mean, that was until Triple H came up, and then he started to feature him on Raw every single week. So that's great, but it just seems counterproductive to me to like have been building him up. You had him paired up with Braun Strowman for a while, then you've been doing all this solo stuff with him, and then you're gonna have him have this big match against Logan Paul, which is a big deal because it's Logan Paul. And then you're gonna have him lose. I just feel like, I don't know. I don't dig it.
No, I don't get it either. I don't.
Then we got Becky Lynch versus Zoe Stark. I don't have a whole lot to say about this, honestly.
Fuck the dirt sheets. That's what I got to say about it. Don't listen to everything you read online.
Oh, yeah.
That is exactly what my point about this is that if you see something online that, it's on advertised or whatever, it doesn't mean anything. It means nothing until the show actually happens. And for some reason, I just knew this match was going to happen. I was like, there's no way they're pulling this match. And the story goes that Becky Lynch came into the show not medically cleared. and then was cleared at the 11th hour, and then they went out and had a match.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens, not only in
Yeah.
wrestling, but professional sports. Try setting your fantasy lineup at 12:50 on a Sunday, and one of your guys says questionable. It's the same thing, all right? And that's why I just was, when I was reading this stuff, I didn't feed into it. It was like, all right, you know, if they don't have the match, they're going to do something. You know what I mean? Becky Lynch will be on Raw, and then they had the match. And honestly, it was a good match. I was very impressed with Zoe Stark throughout this entire contest.
Yeah, and I think, again, you know, as we've said with other NXT call-ups, it's very it tells you a lot about how they feel about Zoe to have her in a package right now with Trish and Becky. I mean, so yeah, it was fine. It was a good match. Trish interferes to help Zoe win. Becky can't believe it. So
do you see that the finish was it was the same finish from when Melina beat Trish?
Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering what this is going to mean for SummerSlam, because I presume that it's still going to be Trish versus Becky. But what I'm wondering is, are we going to have another moment where Trish is like, oh, I can't wrestle, like, or I have to wrestle with this on my face, and then she like takes it off, you know, the way that she did it back in the day. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that, which I'm here for, because I love all of the like callbacks to her career. I'm here for it. But I feel like they have to, because we need to see the end of this at SummerSlam. I'm ready for Becky.
Needs to end at SummerSlam. Like, yeah, needs to end at SummerSlam.
Just move on. Yeah.
Yeah,
David already mentioned this, but Maxine Dupree graduates Alpha Academy School of Wrestling, and a great.
Thank you.
It was a great moment. You know, it was kind of like a break moment. You know what I mean? It was kind of like,
great break in the show. Needed this.
Yeah. So after praising themselves for teaching Maxine, they welcome Maxine out to the ring, and she gets on the mic and starts thanking them for everything that they have taught her. She talks about how Otis is her twin flame, her muse, her rock. And if he hadn't, I know,
a muse.
Yeah, if he hadn't caught her eye, then none of this would be happening right now, and that the three of them are just getting started. And then we got into a weird moment a little bit when Gable was making it weird, when he was like trying to present her with the jacket, with the Letterman jacket, being like, remove your hat, remove your gown. And it was like, what is going on?
And Otis
Gable?
was like,
I know.
Otis, like, the entire segment was unbelievable. His mannerisms, the way he was just moving around, it was awesome.
And his T-Rex arms.
It's incredible.
So as they present her with the jacket, the Viking Raiders music comes out. I'm not going to talk about the Viking Raiders.
Why not?
No, I'm not going to talk about how much I think they're dumb. And as they're all like preparing for the two dudes to come into the ring, Valhalla is here, and she sneaks up from behind Maxine and steals the jacket. I'm like, is this really what we're doing now?
That's classic. I loved it. Yeah. I love this. Steal the jacket, then now she has to beat her again, and then it can lead to a match that they have. Just them one-on-one. Like it's a little symbol of you have something that I need. You're taking something from me that I earned. It adds a little fuel to the fire of Maxine Dupree. Now she can expand her moveset a little bit. Maybe throw in a drop kick. Maybe a German. Imagine Maxine Dupree hitting a German.
I mean, I will watch it, but I'm not like excited about it because it's Viking Raiders. But
I love the Viking Raiders. They're just awesome. They're just brutal. There's brutality at its finest. Reminds me of God of War, that game. Well, speaking of Goddess of War.
I know. So other things that I wasn't too interested in. We saw Emma versus Shayna Baszler, which I was like, okay.
I laughed when I saw that she was facing Emma, and then it's like, here's how this match happened, and Emma just slides in to annoy her. And I was like, oh, of course, Emma, you brought this on yourself, girl. This is just all you.
But this whole thing was very confusing to me. So obviously Shayna beats Emma in like 2 seconds. And then afterwards, Ronda comes out and they start brawling and just doing a bunch of MMA moves to each other, because obviously that's all Ronda can do. But what I'm confused about is, who's supposed to be the bad guy in this situation?
Ronda.
But it's hard because it was like Shayna came out and it's not like people hate Emma, you know? So I was like, okay, so she like beats the shit out of Emma. And then it was like, yay. And I'm like, but no one cared. Like no one was cheering. But then when her and Ronda were like rolling around in the ring, no one was really reacting. And I was like, yeah, because if you're going to make Ronda the bad guy, you need to have her do more to get more people to hate her or to care about this at least. Because last week people were really into Shayna because she was going after Ronda, but people aren't actually invested in Shayna. It's like only when she's going against Ronda, but like Ronda's hated, but they're not invested in this storyline, so they weren't really reacting. So I'm like, they need to figure this out because this is going to be a joke of a match at SummerSlam because it would be the bathroom
unless it's
match.
in a lion's den. Like, have them just go full UFC MMA and just beat the shit out of each other.
Or what about a Lumberjill match?
No, that's so
just do a Lumberjill match and make sure you bring back like the Bella twins because they're fierce.
And Santino's sister.
Yeah, and
WrestleMania.
Oh my god. Yeah, just make sure bring back Eva Marie. Just bring them back, okay? Yeah, so I think they just need to do something with this because I feel like I'm just confused about it. I don't know. Then we got a Cody Rhodes promo, and I feel like this was a nice change of pace because it's been a while since we've had a nice Cody promo in the ring where we actually sat here and we're like, you know what, Cody, you're great.
God, he's just so
good. He goes in there and I know. He talks about his momentum because someone asked him while on the tour for Money in the Bank how he felt about his momentum, and he said, it's been haunting me since I was asked this question because my momentum right now is a bit shaky since, I have to try and figure out a way to beat Brock Lesnar for the second time. I would say, second time. I mean, technically third, but you know what I mean. His second defeat. And he says that everyone has a Brock Lesnar in their lives, which I thought that was a really cool.
Oh, I felt something in that promo. When he started talking about that mountain and you can't go over it, you can't go around it, you gotta go through it. I was like, yes, Brock, I have my daily mountains.
Yes, and he's like, everyone has their own Brock Lesnar in their lives, whether it's debt, it's a terrible boss, anxiety, whatever. And I was like, wow, okay. Like, he's making it relatable because we know he panders to the crowd, and he panders a lot to the crowd, which I think I'm fine with because he was never able to do that. He was always a bad guy, and so he had to ignore the crowd. So I'm fine with it. But I thought that was a cool way to like become more relatable, because not many people can relate to the idea of having to defeat a Brock Lesnar. Like, he's 6'4", 275, whatever he is. So then he says he wants a rubber match at SummerSlam, and I have to tell you, I googled what is a rubber match because I had no idea. I was like, that sounds like a weird match. That sounds like a weird stipulation.
It's the third.
I know, but I had to Google it because I was like, what is a rubber match? What do they do? Like, is it rubber bands? Is there rubber? What do they do? Like, I had to look it up and be like, what is it? Do they beat each other with erasers? What is going on?
Each other.
Yeah.
Rubber,
if there's rubber around the ring, so when they bounce off it, it was like, pacha! Like, I don't know. I just was I had to figure it out.
That's a stipulation. They're having a rubber match.
Yeah, that's why I was like, wait, is that the match that they were saying that hasn't happened in wrestling in a long time? Because that sounds like it.
That's incredible.
So, but then when he was talking about how, he's going to hit him in the ear and punch him here and then like use this chair, it kind of implied that which we've said that they are going to have a match that allows the use of weapons. So I assume it's not going to be a no DQ, but it could be. I think that would be fine. But yeah, it definitely seems like it's going to be a violent match. So, and then he ends it with, he says that what comes from the fight is simple. It will be the next guy in line, and the prince doesn't want to be the prince forever, so he will be the next in line. And I was like, oh, are we calling you the prince now? Because Finn.
I thought we were talking about Ferg over there.
Like, I know. What? I was like, you're calling yourself the prince, sir? Do you know who you are? But yeah, so We get to see what Brock Lesnar has to say next week. Obviously, I'm assuming he's going to accept. I'm more interested to see what the stipulation is. And I think that could be exciting. I'm also curious to be like, I don't know how this is going to pan out. Like, I don't know who's going to win.
I don't really know either. No, Cody.
Like,
Cody.
I mean, I can see arguments for both sides, but I feel like Cody kind of has to, and it also helps like build up. Oh, look, he can overcome Brock Lesnar, and in like with a crazy stipulation, that it's not just coming down to who out wrestles the other one or something,
Yeah.
Speaking of no DQ, The Miz versus Ciampa, and you were right. We saw a wild Bronson raid.
Boom.
So this was a great match. Lots of great spots. There were chairs. There were uses of announcer's desk. There were chairs or tables.
Chairs.
Tables. Trash can lid.
Love a good trash can lid getting put out in the hard. It's one of my favorite weapons I use.
I just want to be like, where do you get these trash cans? Because these are ones that I feel like have only existed in video games. Like this is not. I've never seen a trash can like this in real life. Yet they always have
the handle on it. That's where I was. Like every one of those trash cans has a lid, like a handle.
I've never seen a metal trash can like that in my life in person.
Have you seen one with like a metal handle on top of it, and you pick it up? And
I don't think so.
Really?
I was sheltered, I guess. I'm sorry. My childhood. Oh my God. I'm gonna have to tell my mom that she raised a child that was.
Would you only have the foot pedal trash where the lazy man's trash can, where you would put your foot on the button and the thing would open and you just throw it in?
No, our trash barrels were always plastic with like wheels. I don't know, like the ones outside.
Wheels?
Yeah, we have.
Those. Yeah, those. All right.
Yeah. Anyway,
I had those too. I have those. Okay.
Bronson Reed comes out of nowhere again because for some reason a large man can just blend in and pop out of nowhere constantly. And he helps make sure the Miz wins this match and then he beats up Ciampa. So are we going to see Reed versus Ciampa? Or is this going to become a tag team thing? Like, are we really getting Bronson and Miz together? And then Ciampa's like, I got friends too. And he brings out teeny tiny Johnny Gargano. Like, I'm sorry.
And Dexter Loomis.
Us tiny guys are going to beat you up.
Well, they got Loomis looming around the corner.
Yeah, but it's not 3-on-2.
They'll make it 3-on-2.
Maybe. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. But... And I didn't mean to mock them for being small because I am a fan. So
yeah, but compared to Bronson Reed, anything's small.
He's a
large man. That's a large man.
And to cap off Raw before we get into this rant, do you want to save the other topic until Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Raquel Rodriguez is teased again as Rhea's next opponent, which I am here for. So Rhea approaches Liv and Raquel backstage where they're waiting because they are going to go watch the women's tag team match with the announcers. And Sonya and Chelsea are there. Chelsea, I just can't. I'm sorry.
3 strikes, you're out. Basketball.
I know.
Fucking electric.
I was like, you're
awesome, Chelsea. Like, you're playing. And she asked for the manager. Like,
yeah, I know. So Rhea tells Liv and Raquel, you need to stay out of my business, and you need to stick to the tag division. And Liv is like, you know what? We're not scared of you. And I was like, Liv, you should be, girlfriend. Did you see what she did to Natalya? She could beat you up in like 2 seconds. Yeah, so Raquel and Rhea just stare each other down before they go out for the match, and I am here for this, but I'm wondering, when is this going to happen? Because obviously there is a little bit of the where, like, not conflict of interest, but kind of, because they're tag team champions, and obviously they can't take the titles off of Liv and Raquel right now because that would be ridiculous. But I wouldn't be mad if they had Raquel go for the title even as a tag team champion. I would not be mad about that.
No, I wouldn't either. It would be giving her her due for going through all this shit. I mean, look how many partners she's had and had to relinquish the title and then still is relevant. I mean, this little back and forth her and Rhea are doing, I just want that match to happen. That's going to be a hard-hitting match, very similar to what we saw with Charlotte at WrestleMania, where it'll be like a wrestling-esque match, but this one will be more of a fight, more on Rhea's level, more than Natalya. More believable that you can win. So.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I don't know that this will be something at SummerSlam. It's possible, but I am excited that they are at least like investing some thought into what the plans are for Rhea next, because people have really been dogging her about not having a great title reign. So
do you see Rhea cost Liv and Raquel the titles? And if so, would that hurt women's tag titles? There's no team inside long segment right now. Yes. And Rhea doesn't need to interfere. There's no reason for Rhea to interfere, especially because they have 2 strikes. You know what I mean? If there was that third strike, then maybe. But if we're keeping with the continuity of the show and following what they say and they're not just empty words, then you don't have her go after it until they get in her business for a third time, which I don't see that being a thing. That's not Raquel and Liv's ulterior motive. Mm-hmm. They just do them. And the only reason they, got in her business was because they were helped save Natalya. Yeah. So, and I just don't see that happening really again. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm more interested in this question too. Would you rather have Rhea versus Raquel or Rhea versus Liv? I think Liv is a bigger name for SummerSlam and they have history, while Raquel would give a better match. Also, Raquel and Rhea have history too.
That is true. I would prefer Rhea and Raquel because I think that Rhea needs a solid feud and opponent where there isn't an obvious winner. And nothing against Liv, but Liv is like half the size of Rhea. So I think that, we haven't gotten a lot of greatness out of Rhea since she became champion against Charlotte at that amazing match at WrestleMania. So I think that to legitimize her even more, then we need to see her go against a girl that's like more considered her equal than, it being, because remember I used to call them, Rhea, I guess Rhea and Liv could have been that too, tall and small.
They easily could have been tall and small.
Yeah, so I'd rather see Rhea versus Raquel for sure. Especially, I mean, it seems like they're trying to push Raquel anyway. So I feel like we're more bound to see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Sorry, I'm just checking something. Okay. Whatever. Yes, I agree with that. If not Liv, then who does Rhea face at SummerSlam? It's Raquel. It's one of those two.
Yeah, I feel like it has to be. I mean, there's still like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or whatever. 3 weeks until 3.5 weeks until SummerSlam. So there's time, I guess. But I feel like because we saw them revisit this tension between Rhea and Raquel, it seems like it's going to be Raquel. Otherwise, I'm going to be kind of bothered because I hate that they keep just randomly doing this with Rhea, where they just like threw Natalya at her and then that became like a feud for a month. And it was like, what is the point of this?
Yeah,
like
I didn't get it either.
Yeah, so I think that this would make the most sense. And I think people would be excited about it because their interactions have gotten quite a reaction from the fans at the shows. Like you can hear them cheering and like they're interested in what's going on. So I think that it would be interesting for people to look forward to.
They want to care for Rhea. You want to care for Rhea not because she's in the Judgment Day, but because she's Rhea Ripley, the women's champion. And it feels like right now
Rhea
you don't.
Dom.
Yeah, like you don't really. You just caring about it because she's in Judgment Day. Like, give her a decent feud where she has a nice string of matches. Now, if they're still worried about her injury stuff and, want to protect her, fine. But I don't know. I'm more into seeing her actually do something. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think it's only fair. Because again, it seems similar to what I said earlier about KO and Sammy winning the tag titles, and then they just didn't really have any sort of plan for her afterwards. Rhea kind of felt like that too, but part of it was because Charlotte decided to take another vacation after Mania. So it wasn't even like she could have another match with Charlotte, like a follow-up rematch or something. She got kind of screwed in that way.
Yeah.
So it just is kind of ridiculous that we're in mid-July and she still hasn't had a legitimate feud yet. So I that's why I want to see that for her, because I would hate for it to be like, oh, she's been, such a great champion or such a long champion, and people are going to be like, yeah, she's never done anything, she's never defended it, and that it's not her fault. So
no, bad booking.
Yeah,
that's all we got. That's the Raw Rewind.
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh, baby. I'm so excited for AEW Blood Guts. You have no idea. I am. Oh yeah, I bought my tickets.
Okay. Well, you didn't say that you did. So
no, I bought them. I pulled the trigger on that. I had to. I had to buy those tickets.
Do you know what I just noticed? This is my Cody Rhodes Funko box, okay, that I still need to put away because I take my Funkos out of the box to display them. I don't care.
Of course, yeah.
Look who's on this box.
There's 4 people. Stone Cold. No way! The original bro.
I'm disgusted. He was just staring at me. That's nasty.
It'll make you feel a little creepy.
I turned the box around.
I would too. That's pretty tough.
Get out of here, bro. You're not allowed in here, you weirdo.
That's incredible. I'm going to watch the greatest wrestler on God's green earth wrestle at the TD Garden next Wednesday. I am so excited.
Very exciting.
All right. So thank you guys for tuning into this edition of the Raw Rewind. Make sure you know what? I've been talking a lot and I got to talk a little bit more. So here's the thing. You want to follow us on all social media platforms? Just link below. Okay.
Yeah.
Link below. Just hit
Check
it up.
the description box.
I'm on Threads, Pitsy35, same as Insta. And yeah, go hit that subscribe button to Sara's YouTube channel. And if you don't have an hour and 11 minutes and 35 seconds to tune in to this entirety, we got clips for you that we clip up. You want to hear talk about Imperium, Judgment Day, KO and Sammy, but you don't want us to don't want to hear us talk about Matt Riddle or whoever else.
Same.
Then you just go to the archives, our shorts and clips there. So go check those out. Help us get our watch hours so we can get monetized and get paid for this a little bit, because that'd be kind of nice.
We can get super chats, but yeah, that's what we're closer to.
So let's get that going. In the meantime, keep watching wrestling. Take no nights off and just watch the product. Okay. That's all we ask. So thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. We will see you next episode. Yeah.